Are you one of the 75% of contractors whose financial statements are inaccurate? Find out. Click on the link in the show notes and you'll get a free P&L and balance sheet check.
This is Contractor Sense with Ruth King.
Welcome to Contractor Sense. Here you discover ideas, tactics, news, and information that matter to your contracting business and you. I'm your host, Ruth King. This episode is sponsored by Financially Fit Business. Get the business tool that makes your financial statements come alive and helps you grow your business profitably, build wealth, and significantly impact your life and the lives of your employees. Go to www.financiallyfit.business and get started today. Thank you for joining us. Here is how we will help your business and you. Consumers are shopping online more than ever. According to data by Sellers Commerce, there are 2.71 billion, that's billion with a B, online shoppers globally as of 2024. So, what technology do we need to attract more online shoppers? Can we provide quotes, or even should we be providing quotes online? Or what else should we be doing? My guest today, Josh Copland, is co-founder of Eden, a company that helps HVAC businesses by onboarding an instant quote tool for potential customers. Josh will answer these questions and more. Josh, welcome to Contractor Sense.
Hey, thrilled to be here, and thank you so much for having me on, Ruth.
My pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. Everybody is online now. I mean, when I grew up, there was nobody, there wasn't even a computer. I used a slide rule. All right.
How things have changed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And but my daughter grew up with all this stuff and, she's used to it. And I've gotten very used to it. Don't get me wrong. I've had to, life has changed a great deal. But, how do we are bombarded. We are absolutely and totally bombarded with stuff these days and messages these days and looking online these days. How do we basically break through the clutter?
Man, that is a loaded question. That is a big one. Um, but I think that you're touching on a great point, which is that hey, my attention span is probably that of a chicken or possibly a goldfish. At modern consumers, you're right. We are bombarded with stuff. We are inundated with information, and as things have become so much more fast paced, thinking back even over the past 30 years, when we think about when did the internet come around? Oh, now we have computers, Google, social, mobile, and then, not to get too carried away, now we're in kind of the AI age. We are getting bombarded with so much information. And I guess from my perspective, it's really something where to really stay on top of mind for consumers, we really need to think about meeting them where they are. And that is sort of the philosophy that really underlies a lot of the stuff that we do at Eden, trying to make sure that we are helping contractors stay on top of mind with consumers, and really trying to meet those sort of modern homeowner expectations.
Yeah, if you sent me a text every day, I would unsubscribe.
And if you did that to me, yeah, I probably would too.
But there's got to be
Absolutely.
some happy medium that Eden has found or works with contractors with that says, okay, here's what we found to be the way to stay in top of mind. And we're going to get into the instant quote tool too. Don't worry
Sure.
about it. But I went down this rabbit hole, so let's go down the rabbit hole.
Y- No, absolutely. We can definitely touch on that later. I think the way that a lot of consumer behavior is just, well, let's take a step back and talk about that part first, has shifted is that instead of sort of a very defined sort of buying process that we might have had in years past, things are a whole lot more fluid now. So when we think about, and I don't know, maybe Ruth, you experienced this in your life as well, but so much of we do, I kind of think about it like with various S's. So streaming, scrolling, searching, and shopping. So as consumers, we very much kind of bounce in between those things. There's really, from my perspective, is very much less of a well-defined kind of structured sales process. And each of those places where we may be, streaming on YouTube or Netflix, where we might be scrolling around on, say, Facebook. For the younger generations, could be TikTok. If we are searching using Google or ChatGPT or other forms, or potentially are in that very much sort of shopping mode, each of those are actually points where, as a business, you are able to gain mind share and also influence customer decisions and also increase awareness as well. So I know this is a super unstructured answer to your question,
That's okay. We're going
but
down this rabbit hole. Let's go down it.
I know. So it's super unstructured, but suffice to say, it's really sort of the be everywhere strategy.
Mhm.
And just to make sure that, yeah, so to your original question was, okay, so how do you stay top of mind? It's really that you want to try to capture those signals for what people are interested in and try to really show up wherever they are in all parts of their lives, whether it's, the shopping, scrolling, searching, or streaming.
Yeah. So here's I like the four S's. I like that a lot. So most of the time, I mean, the shopping online is the interesting part about this because we look at it. I mean, and there have been raging debates with HVAC contractors about should you put your pricing online?
Yes.
And some say yes,
And we are in the
some
thick
say
of it.
no. So, I mean, I'm sure you've got, instant quote wouldn't be around if you thought no.
That is very true. And where we really are coming from with this is, first of all, that so much of what we do, not only in the HVAC space, but when we think about consumer behavior overall, is that it is very much the buyer and their expectations. That is what is really driving a lot of the demand. And where we are coming from with Eden is simply that today's buyers really kind of expect it and they act on it. So you may have seen this in the ACHR News. Every year, they do a big kind of homeowner contractor survey, and the results have been pretty remarkably significantly consistent over the past couple of years. And it is that 70% of homeowners, they're actually more likely to contact an HVAC contractor with online pricing. So from our perspective, online pricing, it's not something that will necessarily close a sale because there is so much that still needs to happen at the kitchen table. And we can definitely go through and talk about, okay, what can you do online? What needs to happen at the kitchen table?
After
But in order
break.
Yep, after the break, exactly. So much still needs to happen at the kitchen table, but it at the online pricing element from our perspective, it's something that starts
Starts the
to our
conversation. Yeah.
exactly. If you're not present with that clear information, then where everybody is, which is online, then you might not even actually be within that decision set.
Yeah.
So from our perspective, being invisible is actually more dangerous than putting yourself out there.
Very good. Okay. Before we take a break, if somebody wants to find out more about Instant Quote or find out more about Eden, how do they do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can go to our website, which is www.edenhomes.com. That is EdenHomes.com. Or you can probably find me online, LinkedIn, or any other places, or josh.coplin, josh.koplin at e-denhomes.com.
Very good. We will be right back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. Imagine you had total freedom. You didn't have to worry about money. You didn't have to be a slave to your business. The words, I can't, are eliminated from your vocabulary. What if you could do what you want to do, whenever you want to do it? A financially fit business could give you that freedom. How? By knowing what your financial statements are telling you and taking action based on what they say. You can do this in less than 10 minutes a month at an investment of less than taking your family out to dinner once a month. And if your financial statements are a mess, you can get help. Go to www.financiallyfit.business or click on the QR code below to get started today. We're back. Thanks for listening to Contractor Sense. I'm talking with Josh Coplin, who is the co-founder of Eden. And before the break, we kind of let this little carrot dangle about sometimes if you don't have pricing on your website, people won't even get in touch with you. I want to tell a story about that because there was a salesperson who was standing, and his company had the, I guess, franchise or whatever you want to call it, with one of the big box companies where they went and sold air conditioning equipment there. Da 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 da. Da. And these millennials had their phones. No offense to millennials, I'm sorry. Um,
Well, you're
and
talking to one right here.
yeah, I'm sure my daughter's one too. Okay. And they walked by and they said, "How much?" And he said, "Well, it kind of depends upon, what your house is." And he went into this long explanation, but they went, "How much?" And there's not on your website. And they literally said that and walked away. So, I mean, I think, what we were talking about and what you were saying before the break is really important. It's shifting. The people who are younger, they're not my age, are really wanting to know how much, like now, so that we can make an instant decision about, yeah, I want to find out more information, or there's no way in God's green earth I'm going to be able to afford this, or, whatever else it is. So let's go down that rabbit hole. How's that?
Sounds like a plan to me. And that actually brings up, so b- before the break, I mentioned this stat from the ACHR News. 70% of homeowners more likely to contact contractor with online pricing. And to your point, Ruth, it actually gets really interesting because when you actually segment that out by generation and take, say, Gen X or younger, so Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, turns out that millennials are the biggest home buying group that's currently out there. Um, but when you actually segment it out that way, this 70% number, it actually jumps up to 100%.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that is essentially near unanimous. And so that means you're definitely seeing this huge sort of generational shift, in terms of home ownership, but also consumer behavior. Now, not necessarily to say that this does not apply to older generations as well. So, my parents, for instance, just to take them as an example, are they're in their 70s, and they're completely glued to their phones 24/7. So,
Mhm.
that certainly, can be a thing. We all have, supercomputers in our pockets now, and I would say that regardless of generation, you certainly see these trends. But if you look at it by generation, absolutely much more pronounced towards the younger generation.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about Instant Quote. What is it?
Yeah, so Instant Quote, it is basically something that you can think about like a digital storefront or a online salesperson for your HVAC business. So short version from 30,000 feet. It's essentially a tool that plugs into your website, and a homeowner can simply go on your website, click a button on there, get an instant quote, see prices, something like that. And all they really have to do is just put in their address. It does a bunch of math behind the scenes, does a quick heat load calculation, um, provides initial recommendations for systems, and pairs it up with your pricing, your preferred systems. So everything is completely customized. And in addition to sort of servicing pricing online, we also pair it up with the various rebates and incentives that are out there too. So depending on where you are, if there are local utility incentives, does a system qualify for the 25C at the federal level? We
Mhm.
do all the math behind the scenes to be able to showcase not only, hey, here's what you're going to be looking at for a price for a system, but also what are the various incentives out there? What are the energy savings? What's kind of that full package of information that can get somebody over the hump to actually saying, yeah, I do want to have somebody come out to my home and to have that kitchen table conversation and to give me a finalized quote. So it's really a way to really capture that modern homeowner and to get that conversation started online.
So let's assume it's a $12,000 system, and
Sure.
part of it probably needs to be approval for financing, I would assume too, correct?
Yes. So financing, that is a big part. And so you can either show sort of the actual cash dollar value for, say, that $12,000 system, or you can also lead with a monthly cost as well.
Yeah.
And those would be customized to whatever financing provider that you work with.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking millennials here,
Yep.
which you are one. I
Yeah,
mean,
yes, I am.
do you buy anything, pay for it all up front? No.
It's buy now, pay later, right?
Well, it's like I'll pay for it, monthly for forever, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is certainly something to be said, just making sure that you're offering financing with everything, regardless of whether it's online or at the kitchen table, because, a $12,000 bill versus a $129 per month bill, one is certainly much more digestible than the other.
Well, they don't add up how many 129s and what the actual cost of it ends up being.
Well, there's certainly that element too, but I think the way that our brains operate, it's sort of, you know, big numbers are hard to make sense of.
Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
it's something that is something that is much more relatable, that's something that we can actually digest, then that just is an easier conversation to have.
Yeah. And so Instant Quote basically does this for the contractor when somebody goes to their website. So they can go play, they can go design a system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's got to be something in there that, for all intents and purposes, says, all right, this is an estimate, call us for the final quote or something like that, correct?
Yep, absolutely. That this is an initial estimate. It's a very very well calculated, good faith initial estimate. But here's the work scope that's associated with it. Here's what sort of line sets are included, the materials. This is for a change out. You can basically include what are all of what's everything that kind of goes into this work scope, what falls out of it, and really have all the disclaimer language in there to make sure that you are covered. And again, at the end of the day, the goal is to get out to that kitchen table in order to have that conversation.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of times I think that you would look at it and say, okay, this one is X number of dollars a month. This one is Y number of dollars a month. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something where as consumers, as we've gotten much more educated and sophisticated, we want to have that information. We want to kind of know what we're getting into. And then when we are more comfortable, then that's when we want to talk to a salesperson. And so it's really a way to say, oh, okay, I've got these various options. The efficiencies are different. Oh, this one maybe qualifies for $3,000 in incentives. This one does not. I guess the one that doesn't is a little bit cheaper, but how does that actually end up looking if I actually compare the systems? Okay, now I'm more comfortable. Okay, I do want to talk to a professional because I want to make sure that what I'm getting is right for me and right for my home.
And what
That's
I
sort
need.
of
Yeah.
exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. And the other thing is that, when you do the financing online, you don't have a salesperson standing over you and have the potential of being embarrassed if you got turned down.
Yep, absolutely. And seeing as these online prices, they are not final is with online pre-qualification. So if somebody sees a system that is $15,000 online, and as a contractor, if you provide that option for doing online pre-quals, then you can go straight through that process. And I would not be able to name a single salesperson out there that would not want to go out to a home where somebody is already pre-qualified for financing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. So, Josh, give us the website one last time, please.
Absolutely. It is www.e-denhomes, e-denhomes.com.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you very much.
And thanks to all of you for joining us. Choose one thing you discovered and implement it in your business. These ideas, tactics, and strategies help you make more money, have more free time, and give back. If you like today's program, spread the word. Please review this podcast on any device you're listening to it on. Help a fellow contractor make more money too. For comments or questions, call me at 770-729-0258 or email Ruth King at hvacchannel.tv. Thanks for listening. Have a great and profitable day.